In 1993, a 9-year-old boy named Fonse was playing in a field with his friend. This is when his friend picked up what he thought was a ball and threw it towards Fonse. Thankfully, Fonse did not catch it because unfortunately the ball turned out to be a cluster bomb left from the Vietnam War nearly 20 years before. During the Vietnam War, the U.S. dropped about 2 million tons of bombs in an effort to cut off communist forces in the neighboring country of Vietnam. This turned out to have the effect on Laos. It turned out to be the heaviest bombing in the history of warfare on one country. I learned about this issue when my sister moved to Laos 2 years ago. Since then, she's talked about how people can become endangered from a bomb that's in fields, in the streets, or sometimes even in the floors of somebody's own home. During this issue, I'll talk about the effect it has on the Laotian people, the effect it has on the economic and developmental growth, and the efforts that have been made to help this problem. This major problem is basically because when the US bombed Laos, it used cluster bombs. Cluster bombs are known to fail. According to an article in the UK magazine Geographical, they're known to fail about 30% of the time. That means out of 90 million bombs that were dropped, about 27 million bomblets are left live scattered across the country. This is a picture to show how many bombs were dropped on Laos during the 9 years of the Vietnam War, and about 30% of those are still waiting to be detonated, and people don't know where they're located. I'll talk about 2 specific victim stories. The first is Phu Bien. He was 37 when he was digging a hole in his own home and hit a cluster bomb, causing him to lose his left arm and left leg, as well as burning down his home and all his belongings, and left his family with nothing, and he could no longer work. The second is Ye Yang. He was 22 when he was burning some garbage in his backyard, and a cluster bomb went off and permanently injured and mutilated him for the rest of his life. In 2005, 11,000 people were injured or killed since the end of the war. 40% of those were under the age of 15. That's 11 years ago, and there can only be more since then. Not only are individuals affected, but also the development of Laos is affected greatly. More than 1/2 of the farmable land is contaminated by these live bombs. And 60% of the nation on top of this is malnourished because of their lack of resources. Not only farms are affected, but also their roads, bridges, schools, and irrigation cannot be built, as well as many other things cannot be built because of the contaminated land. There are some programs that are built and have been founded to help remove bombs in countries such as Laos. The MAG, or Mines Advisory Group, is a UK-based organization that helps to clear bombs. As you can see, they use metal detectors that are like a few square feet wide, and it takes them forever, basically, to search the land and to detect the bombs. More often than not, they end up just being harmless metal fragments of like bomb shards or anything from the war before, so that costs them a lot of time. According to an article from the CNN, only 1% of the live bombs have been cleared since the end of the war, leaving 99% still to be found. Due to this heavy attack on Laos nearly 30 years ago, there's been effects on individual families and people, an effect on the growth of the country itself, but there are some organizations that are trying to help. Even with the efforts of these organizations, the estimated time for the country to be truly safe for everyone again and be able to develop is decades. So you can only imagine until that is done, there will be more suffering, unfortunately.